morning, Team Alabama. We are ready for some more in Hidden Figures. Please find it on your Chromebook and page 12. And we are down about 3/4 of the page on page 12 to Wanted. And the caption says, Wanted Female Mathematicians. Each of the engineers at the Langley Memorial Aeronautical Laboratory required the support of a number of other workers, craftsmen to build the airplane models, mechanics to maintain the test tunnels, and number crunchers to process the data that was collected during the tests. For the engineers, a plane was basically a complex physics experiment. Physics is the science of matter, energy, and motion. There's a great word for you for your vocab. Physics. It is the science of matter, energy, and motion. Physics meant math, and math meant mathematicians. At the Langley Laboratory, mathematicians meant women. Female mathematicians had been on the job at Langley since 1935, and it didn't take long for the women to show that they were just as good or even better at computing than many of the male engineers. But few of the women were granted the title mathematician, which would have put them on equal footing with some male employees. Instead, they were classified as sub-professionals, a title that meant that they could be paid less. So they did the same job, but they were paid less. At Langley, the female mathematicians were called computers. They did the computations to turn the results of the raw data gathered by the engineers into a more useful form. Today, we think of computers as machines. But in the 1940s, a computer was just someone whose job it was to do computations, a flesh and blood woman who was very good with numbers. So you could put that computer down as a vocab word and put that it was a woman who did complex math equations to help at NACA. In 1943, it was difficult for Langley Laboratory to find as many qualified women as they needed. A recruiter from the National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics, or NACA, visited colleges in search of young women with analytical or mathematical skills. Top of page 14, and there's a picture for you of a female. Okay, and it says a woman computer at Langley Memorial Aeronautical Laboratory with calculating machine on her desk. The human computers. When the managers couldn't satisfy the demand with only white employees, the government decided to hire African Americans. A civil rights leader named A. Philip Randolph encouraged President Roosevelt to sign an executive order, a law that ordered the desegregation of the federal government and defense industry and created the Fair Employment Practices Committee. This executive order opened up new and exciting opportunities for African Americans, allowing them to work side by side with white people during the war. Top of page 15. The federal government also helped create special training classes at black colleges where people could learn the skills that they would need to be successful in war jobs. Black newspapers like the Norfolk Journal and Guide published articles telling their readers to apply for these new jobs or openings. Okay, please write that as a fact. So several black newspapers encouraged people to apply for these new jobs. And there were many applicants. The applications were not supposed to consider race. A recent law had done away with the requirement that the application must include a photo, but it wasn't hard for employers to figure out which candidates were black. African Americans did not have access to white colleges and universities, so black applicants came from black colleges, such as West Virginia State University, Howard University, Hampton Institute, and Arkansas Agricultural, Mechanical, and Normal College. Many of the African American candidates had years of teaching experience as well as math and science degrees, so they were super well qualified. Once hired, the black mathematicians were assigned to a separate workspace in the warehouse building on the west side of the Langley campus. The East area computers were all white, and the West area computers were all black, except for the supervisor and her assistant, who were white women. There had always been African American employees at Langley, but they had worked as janitors, cafeteria workers, mechanics assistants, and groundskeepers. Hiring black mathematicians, that was something new. Okay, go ahead and add that as a fact. For the most part, the engineers welcomed extra hands, even if those hands were black. The Langley Laboratory was operating around the clock to test airplanes to be flown by American soldiers in the war. Everyone had a job to do. Hampton, Virginia, where the Langley campus was located, was very much a southern town. State law and Virginia customs meant that the African Americans did not ride the same buses or eat in the same cafeterias or use the same bathrooms as whites. The Langley staff had to prepare for the arrival of the African American mathematicians. One of the tasks creating metal bathroom signs that read "Colored Girls." For the black women, the experience of working at a laboratory offered the chance to do interesting work that would help support the war effort. Walking into an unfamiliar environment wasn't easy for the women of the new West Area Computing Office, but each of them was eager for the opportunity to help their country and prove that they too could be excellent mathematicians. The movie does a great job of showing this. And here on page 17 is a picture of the employees of Langley Memorial Aeronautical Laboratory, and it says they are assembling for a visit from the Secretary of the Navy in 1943. And so here's a picture of that in your books. You'll be able to see that. Page 17 is the picture, okay? Page 18, mobilization. There was no escaping the heat during the summer of 1943, and especially for the African American women working in Camp Pickett's laundry boiler plant. Camp Pickett was an Army training center in central Virginia that processed 18,000 bundles of laundry each week. Okay, there's a great fact for you. The laundry facility processed 18,000 bundles of laundry a week. Inside the facility, the heat and humidity were so intense that the workers stepped outdoors into 100+ degree summer heat to get relief. So it was hotter than that inside the plant. The job at the plant was hard. Some of the women loaded the soldiers' dirty laundry into the boilers, and others heaved the sopping clothes into the dryers. Another team worked the pressing machines like cooks at a giant griddle. The laundry workers existed at the bottom of the war's great pyramid of employees. They earned 40 cents an hour. Okay, put that as a fact. The laundry workers earned 40 cents an hour, among the lowest wages of all war workers. But for women with few employment options, even the modest sum felt like a windfall. So they felt like that was a good amount of money. And here's a picture of work in that laundry facility. And this one was from Jacksonville, Florida, but it was similar to Camp Pickett's. Okay, Dorothy Vaughn considered applying for a job at the laundry. The 32-year-old taught math at the Black High School in Farmville, Virginia, about 30 miles from Camp Pickett. Her family was better off financially than many others, and her husband's parents owned a barber shop and a pool hall and a service station in town. But Dorothy wanted to find a job to earn extra money. While teaching offered status, it didn't pay well. Virginia's white public school teachers earned some of the lowest salaries in the United States, and black teachers in Virginia earned 50% less than that. Okay, so a white employee was not well paid, but a black employee earned 50% less. Dorothy could earn twice her teacher's salary by working at the laundry. Okay, so the laundry people earned 40 cents an hour, and she could earn twice her teacher's salary by working at the laundry. How much does she make an hour? Okay. Some women with Dorothy's education might have seen taking the laundry job as an unthinkable choice. Wasn't the purpose of a college degree to get away from dirty and difficult work? In addition, the camp was far enough away from Farmville that Dorothy would have to live in employee housing during the week and only go home on the weekends. But Dorothy didn't care. She would do whatever was necessary to save enough money so that her 4 children might be able to get the best education possible. So Dorothy values education, okay, and she wants to take on this job so that she can help provide for them. She knew that schooling was the best way to prepare her children to live in a world that would require more of them than white children and attempt to give them less in return. Okay, we're going to stop there today on page 20 at the bottom. Have a great rest of your day, Team Alabama.